All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of our Boxed Lunch episode right here at the Fort Worth Community Arts Center. We are back in-house today up in our lovely conference room, and today we continue our New Voices, New Stories series with some fantastic artists and jacks of all trade. We have a very, very special treat for everyone today. So please help me, everyone, in welcoming the one and only Jin-Ya Huang. How are you doing today, Jin-Ya?
Hi, Jason. My name is Jin-Ya Huang, and so I am the founder of Break Bread, Break Borders, and I just want to take a moment to introduce our super talented Break Bread, Break Borders community cooks here. Nawara, will you raise your hand? Hi, this is Nawara. And then Rania, will you raise your hand and say hi? And then Kulud, will you raise your hand and say hello? Hi, so nice to meet everyone. Thank you so much for holding space for us. And again, my name is Jin-Ya Huang, and I am the founder of Break Bread, Break Borders. And so we are a culinary development program set up for refugee women from war-torn countries. And essentially we use the powerful storytelling of food and culture to break bread with the communities and break down borders at the same time.
Wow, what an absolutely fantastic program. And it looks like you have a plethora of hands to help you through your lunch today. I am so excited to see what these wonderful women are able to create. And speaking of, what is on your lunch menu today?
We have, we're going to actually we're in Ranya's lovely home today. Typically, we normally cook in actually a commercial kitchen, but since we're just kind of amongst friends and family here, we thought we would just, get a little cozy and be a little more intimate and actually, cook in a home kitchen today. And so I'm going to let the super talented community cooks here, the BBBB community cooks here, let you know what's on our menu. So anybody step in. What are we starting with? I know there's some chicken and dumplings, but go for it.
Yeah, I will start with the dumpling, and it's a Chechen dish, and I will also do isbal, which is a dish from Syria.
Awesome. So Kulud actually is a descendant from Chechnya. Her grandparents actually were originally from Chechnya. They were displaced and then left to, take refuge in Syria, and then was displaced yet again by war. And so she's really held on to generations of family recipes. That is what she's able to take with her. And so today, as she shared, she's actually making some Chechen dumplings. They're to die for. And she'll tell you what sauces goes with everything, and she'll be making other items as well. So that's what her contribution for today. And then what else are we having? Who's cooking the other dish here? Rania?
I make grilled chicken. It's already in the oven.
Okay. Which chicken? I'm sorry.
Grilled chicken.
Great chicken. Okay.
And rice with peas.
Okay.
And salad.
And a salad. Okay, so her chicken has a kick. Ranya's father actually taught her how to cook, and it's got all these amazing Arabic spices in it, and it's got a real kick of flavor and heat. And so I really always love enjoying her chicken dishes. And she said she's making rice with peas and then also a salad. Yeah. Oh yes, don't forget my greens. Got to eat my vegetables. Yep, it's all about healthy. I'm always trying to get my son to eat healthy, but then I don't know if I practice what I preach. Anyways, next would be Nawara.
Yeah. I have today hummus.
Okay, she's doing the hummus. Okay.
Yeah, and chicken shawarma.
And chicken shawarma. Ooh, yeah. Nice size.
Fresh chicken,
and
with some mayonnaise and pickled cucumber.
Those are Lang's favorite. Lang can just eat those cucumbers by itself, but wow. Yes. And so you'll get her to see how she rolls up these, it's like a Syrian burrito or Euro, however you want to look at it. It's really like, yeah, the ladies are from Syria. And so they, definitely have that very healthy, Mediterranean view of cooking. And the diet is always like super balanced. Yeah.
Wow. Now, I want to say this, and now you personally invited me to come over and do this interview in person.
I know.
And I am so regretting the fact that I am in this conference room right
Dude.
now. I mean this in the kindest way, but I might
Regret. Hashtag regret.
to be able to try some of that wonderful food. So hats off to all of you. And I think this may be our biggest in-person audience meeting with our box lunch program. And I cannot wait to see what these fabulous ladies are creating. It already looks good. And I can smell it through the screen.
Oh,
Sure.
yes. So good, because Gulu makes these dumplings with this just rockin' garlic sauce, and it is like it just like brings out all the flavors of the fillings that she actually puts in the dumplings. And so she typically does them actually with beef. That's the traditional recipe, is minced beef. And the garlic, see that she's mincing right now, it just brings out all the flavors. And so anyways, it's amazing. Yeah, I don't need to rave about these ladies any more than you can already see. It's just like an incredible team of sisterhood that we have founded together. And I essentially started Break Bread, Break Borders back in 2017. And it was an art project that actually came out of my need to cope with my grief of losing my mother to cancer. And so my mom, Margaret Mei Huang, she was actually a chef and very much a community leader. And so when I was growing up, we actually grew up in Taipei, Taiwan. I was not born here. I came to the States when I was about 13, and very much like the ladies here, my ancestors were refugees who escaped from China, from communism, to take refuge in Taiwan. And so all my life, I've made artwork that's very much about the immigrant and refugee experience, that diaspora experience. And I really had always wanted to really talk about so many of the challenges that we have experienced, in the world today, from racism to sexism and all the injustices in between. This, through my artwork, through my social practice artwork, I really want to use these art projects to talk about the equity of it all. And so Break Bread, Break Borders was born out of, my need to honor my mother's legacy. And, she used to really just teach these teachings in a way that I need to kind of back up. Like my dad had actually lost his job when I was 13. And so my aunt and uncle called from America and said, they were starting a Chinese version of McDonald's, and if we wanted to come and help. And, thinking that it would actually, get the girls, me and my sisters, better education, they said yes. And so we went all the way from Taipei, Taiwan to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And so my parents actually, were helping my aunt and uncle with the family business. And so about 16 franchises later, we actually, saw that one of the restaurants in Dallas was doing really well. And so my parents pinched pennies, saved up, and actually got the franchise from my aunt and uncle. And so we moved down here to Dallas, Texas. And that was the thing. It was, I saw every day that my mom would train other immigrants and refugees, job skills in the food service industry. And she would send them on to bigger and better opportunities. And that was the thing, that it was transforming lives, in such a tremendous way. And, and we were already like, raised to be like tiny philanthropists. And so in the sense that, I grew up really poor, and my mom grew up on a farm, and like, we didn't have anything, growing up. And so like coming to America and being able to like, go to school and like, have a school bus take you and, have access to like free textbooks, I thought like I was in heaven, and so really like coming here and, when we didn't have the money, we had the time to, to volunteer, either, like singing at, the senior assisted living homes or nursing homes, or, sewing blankets, for the homeless at the shelter, or, cooking, because my mom was the chef, cooking for galas at the Buddhist Compassion Relief Foundation, to like really raise money, for disaster relief and things like that. Like, I hated it growing up. It was like, oh, what do you mean? Like I have to go to school, I have to do school after school, and then I have to like, still volunteer time. Like, what does that, even mean? Like, I won't have any time to myself. I really hated it growing up, but it really actually taught me these skills that, what it means to serve the communities, and because I didn't speak any English when I came to the States, art became my universal language. I still remember my English as a second language teacher, like, pushing me to the art teacher and saying, this is how she speaks and this is how she does well. And, using that as my, my form of communication, right? Because contrary to popular opinions, I suck in math and science. And so, like being able to use the arts, to talk to people was really tremendous for me. And for my mom, it was cooking. She used food as such an incredible equalizer, as her universal language. And that's how she talked to people. And I still remember, like, when I came up with the concept, I was pitching the idea and like nobody would, pick it up or do anything. And, I lost my mom in 2015. And for 2 years, I talked about the project. And it wasn't until the travel ban, the Muslim travel ban actually went into effect with our previous administration, did people realize that, oh no, if immigrant rights and refugee rights are taken away, that actually might take away our rights as citizens of United States of America. And that's when people actually started taking notice. And so we were really fortunate that, there were people that were interested in, actually, kickstarting this test piloting this program with us. And initially it was just supposed to be a pop-up dinner. And the funny part was like, I wanted to just like do a couple pop-ups and like, this is my art project. And I was just gonna like move on, like next, what's my next project? And little did I know that it just became this thing, it had a life of its own. It was so important that we created a safe space and a courageous space for people to not only, be able to talk about food and heritage and culture and maintaining their uniqueness, their ethnicity and their identity. And that, because like the ladies don't just cook, they actually like, you know, get the mic at these events, and they talk about their experiences abroad, you know, what it was like escaping war-torn countries, what it's like, you know, living as refugees abroad, and, you know, surviving in inhumane, you know, camps around the world, and, you know, walking across the desert pregnant with 4 children with no food or water, and just, you know, the resilience of it all, right? And having the hope of bringing their kids, you know, to America, and like, you know, finding out that they were going to be able to come to the US is like, you know, hitting the lottery basically, right? And so that they talk about, you know, what it's like to cook with Break Bread, Break Borders. And that was the thing. It was like, you know, we were working with refugee resettlement agencies to find candidates. And, you know, there were people that, you know, said, oh, you know, we have this amazing New Roots, you know, community garden with the International Rescue Committee over here in Dallas. And, you know, that global organization has been so helpful and, you know, super supportive of our efforts, because, you know, they introduced us to like the first cooks that we cooked with from Iraq and Syria. And, you know, the ladies were like, basically, you know, at the end of the event, they said, it's really, really wonderful to have like a beautiful community dinner, but that's not what we need. What we need is jobs. And so we, you know, we thought, okay, my parents, you know, have had, you know, a small business. They were entrepreneurs, and, you know, we've done this, you know, how hard could it be, right? Well, it's been extremely difficult. It's super challenging work. But what's amazing is, you know, you look at the women that we work with, you know, they learn, they already know how to cook. They're amazing chefs. Like, that's not the issue. The challenge is finding out the rules and regulations, and also the logistics and operations of running a small business, right? And, you know, and so essentially we're using artistic practice to train the women, you know, on how to acquire food handler's permit and food manager's license, and, you know, teaching them, you know, safety through like photos and things, you know, if there's a language barrier. I certainly don't speak Arabic, Farsi, or or Burmese, you know, but the ladies all know cooking, you know. And I still remember when I was like showing the slide deck, you know, at the meetup, and like a lot of people were just kind of looking at me with like, you know, really perplexed eyes, and, you know, like wondering what on earth I was talking about. Fresh mint from the garden, see, like, and fresh tomatoes, see, like, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about, is like, they're already amazing gardeners, and, you know, and like really most of it we really try to source, you know, locally. And we work with local farmers too, to, you know, to just cook fresh ingredients that's healthy for you. And also, like, we mix a lot of social justice in these meals. And so, like, you know, when people dine with us, it's almost like, you know, diversity, equity, inclusion workshop and training, you know, all mixed in one. And that was the thing, like, you know, like after the first pop-up, people were asking, you know, how can I get this in, you know, with my office, and how can I bring it in as, you know, a corporate luncheon, or, you know, or figure out, like, you know, how can, you know, my church, you know, be in on this, you know, and figure out like what it looks like, you know, even at home, you know, just dining with their families. And, you know, so many of the people that hear not only, you know, the story of the food and the heritage and the culture, but also these, you know, personal experiences of these women. And, you know, they finally understand what a refugee looks like, and what an immigrant looks like, and what being an other looks like. And, you know, and really think about how to unpack that idea of belonging, and what important, you know, concept that is that, you know, we wanted to use the arts, you know, the culinary arts in particular, to really bind us in that way, to celebrate our similarities, our differences, and to be able to, break bread together and break down borders at the same time. And so this is just one of the projects that I have been working on.
This is incredible. I cannot say it enough. You hear so many artists talk about advocacy. We hear so much howling from the rafters about action on social media sites and all of these places. I cannot say how inspirational it is to see the practical application of an idea to a point of action. Can you tell us just generally in this small window that you've already been working on this project, how many folks have you been able to affect?
We've been able to affect 22 women thus far, and COVID really kind of put a damper on that, definitely last year. But I think what was so interesting was, we were able to see, that it doesn't really matter what the world gets, throws at us, many wrenches in the road, that, the women are incredibly resilient, and they have so much hope. Even, they were telling me we've lived through war, famine, climate change, so many of these different things. It's like, a little virus is not going to get us, and so, on our darkest days, our community partners, people all stepped in, from Growth, Texas, helping us actually distribute our hummus and baba ganoush, to market provisions over at Farmers Market as a consumer packaged goods, and to distributing fresh produce to people who were experiencing food insecurity or food apartheid, and working with Toyota sustainability program, distributing those goods, and there were just so many people. Strobel Foundation, there were so many different people who stepped in and said, we understand, catering is going to be challenging, through this time period. And, how do we, get the women to use their superpowers and their skills and still make it work? Or, because we're actually a for-profit LLC, we couldn't really fundraise in that capacity. And there were our friends who were nonprofit, founders that let us, basically became our nonprofit fiscal sponsors, and, helped us apply for grants that, got the ladies through, majority of the pandemic. No one got evicted. No one, went hungry. The kids were able to have, virtual access to education, and, for Wi-Fi. And then, if anyone got sick, we were able to assist with medical bills. We really try to, touch these lives deeply. It's not just about a number, okay, I've trained you, you got your license and, and certification, then okay, go. It's never about that. It's really okay, what are your interests? And really foster that interest. Rania had always wanted her own business, and so she was already cooking for people during Ramadan, and at her mosque, and and she was just how do I network more? I don't know anybody here in America. The lady who took me to get my social security number is my best friend, so how do I build this community? And so, instead of just being stuck in the particular apartment complex, that's near all the refugee resettlement agencies or interfaith organizations, we got them out. They were talking to people from, Temple Emmanuel, and, cooking international Thanksgiving together. They were, being asked, by little Jewish ladies, what is the recipe of this dish? What is kepse? What does that mean? And, I still remember Rania was like, who are these nice people? They have so many questions for us, but they don't even know us. And that's the thing, that they were finding community outside of their little bubble, and throughout the world, every place they've been at, they are finding out that they're, not only are they able to share their food and culture, like, they don't have to alter the recipes or anything. Well, I mean, yeah, not that lemon, but but we talk about, how, we've been learning from everybody, throughout this is, there are definitely a lot of people who are either, lactose intolerant or, whatnot. And so the ladies, coming to America, they've learned how to, okay, what is it? Gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free. But we always joke, it's like, we know how to do all that. We know how to do all the healthy stuff, but we don't do taste-free. Okay, so so it works.
I am absolutely mesmerized by all of the action going on, by your ability to multitask. It is just absolutely.
Hey, I'm a
just
single
swept
mom.
away.
Managing a 13-year-old, it's like,
Now,
it
I want
works.
to ask you a question.
Sure.
With immigration at the moment being such a hot topic right now, what
Mhm.
is a misconception? And of course I'm generalizing. If you could wipe away one misconception about immigration right now in this particular time, what is it you would like people to know about?
I want people to know that refugees are not just homeless, they're countryless. And immigrants who are trying to come to this country do not have a choice elsewhere. They are literally fleeing from war, violence, abuse, and all kinds of challenges and trauma that they simply cannot live with any longer. And it is not by choice that they want to leave their home countries to come here for better opportunities. They literally have no other choice. And this is the way to a better place. And it is a way to build a better future. And it is something that we have to embrace as not only as a country, but also as a culture, about compassion building. And that is something that, my mom has always taught us, that, no matter what your racial, economic, social, any kind of background, just because you have a different skin color, you should not be categorized in a caste system in any way, shape, form possible. You have to accept people as they are and celebrate every single part of that every day. And that was how we were brought up, was basically like my mom would always tell us, whatever we do, always do the right thing. And always remember, to be a good neighbor. And third, like, practice kindness and compassion every day. It is really important to really understand, where are people's pains and all that's coming from, and when we get questions, at our events, it's not always, people who we've been preaching to, as the choir. We've definitely had people who are very challenged, with the ladies, and, they'll ask questions like, out of all places in the world, why did you decide, to come to the United States to take good Americans' jobs? And we've had people who are super scared to try, the food, and think, it's so foreign and so different that, that they would never actually enjoy it. But they hear these personal stories, and they really taste how much love is poured into every dish, right? And and after they hear the stories, their stance soften, because they now understand, oh my goodness, that could be my daughter, that could be my auntie, that could be, and that could be anyone in my family, that could be me, and really understanding that, has been interesting, to share these, experiences, not just culinary experiences, but cultural experiences with people. And those exchanges, you know, have really enlightened so many. And we've had this, you know, so many people that have no clue like what food from, you know, Afghanistan tastes like, or, you know, food from Burma or the Congo, or, you know, Iraq or Syria. And, you know, I still remember this one guy that, you know, like he was, you know, really leery of all the Syrian cooking. And he was like, I don't know what anything is. And he was like, I know this is chicken, I know this is rice, but, you know, I'm really scared. But, you know, finally, like one of his friends talked him into taking a bite of that rice. And one bite into that rice, he was like, oh my goodness, this takes me back to all the way to my grandmother's dirty rice from New Orleans.
Right.
And like, you know, those food memories, right, Jason, are so powerful, you know, and they really evoke this, you know, this emotion that you cannot explain with words. And, you know, and I think that's what's so amazing about the arts is, you know, its ability to be a universal language, its ability to, you know, to communicate, to, you know, to educate, to mobilize, to organize. And also, you know, as you were talking about earlier, you know, it's not just, you know, finding, you know, the allyship and, you know, and advocacy, you know, for social justice, but holding people accountable for those actions. And this is why it's, you know, so important that we talk about, you know, these new stories, because it is our new future. You know, people are going to have to come together. You know, interracial solidarity is a thing because we all can do this together, because we're so much stronger together. Because when we talk about things together and do things together, there is, and this not just an idea of collective impact, it truly happens. You can see it in this kitchen right now, you know, radiating every step of the way. You know, when we invest in women, as the UN statistics say, you know, women and girls, they invest literally 90% of their income straight back into their families and into the communities. Okay, that you can't beat data. Okay, that is just straight up statistics. And you know, I hate to say this, but statistically, like that average is actually only about 35 to 40% for men. So men only spend that much, you know, of their income. They pour only, you know, less than half of it, you know, back into the community. And this is why we feel it's so important to invest in women and girls. And, you know, that's why this program is only built for women and girls, you know. And I've had people ask me, like, are you going to train men at some point? I'm like, nope. Sorry, you have a lot of privilege that you're living with, and no, like we're not going to go there.
I feel very privileged, and I will be the first to say it, to just even get to watch and be in this little area with all of you and seeing all these fabulous things. And as a man, I'll tell you, yes, you're smarter, you're wiser, you're better. I'll be the first one to admit.
Thank you. So I think, you know, that was the thing. It's like, you know, we've really built this company up on sisterhood, up on, you know, what our family values are, right? You know, if this is happening to, you know, our sister, our next door neighbor, like what would we do? We would do something, you know. And this is our little something. It's not much, but you know, it is literally fighting all these, you know, issues that we're having, you know, one bite at a time. And, you know, and the ladies have really kind of like learned a lot about the arts through me. They sometimes don't understand, you know, why I put so much value in it, but you know, you're good. Special sound effects. We're making a very good movie. But yeah, and so like, it smells so good. I wish you could like, oh, it's like I just want to like ship these meals to you.
Well,
but anyway, I know, right? So yeah, I you know, when Aurora, you know, approached us about, you know, making something for New Stories, New Futures, you know, we wanted to really, you know, amplify these ideas that we have, you know, built and tried and true, here at Break Borders. We wanted to really talk about, a lot of the challenges that we've been experiencing because, it was interesting when we started this work, we had been really helping women from all around the world and but majority of them have been from the continent of Asia. And in light of what's been happening throughout the pandemic and so much discrimination, against Asian American and particularly Asian American women, so much of that, oh, look at this. There is your chicken shawarma. Hello, hello. Jason, this is what you're missing out on. Like, dude, I invited you. Don't say I didn't try. We actually have a friend coming from a magazine that's actually gonna come over. I gave her the option and she took it.
I'm
She was like, I'm coming in person. Whatever I do, I'm coming in person. She's actually interviewing other refugee-focused organizations in Amarillo and Austin in like unexpected places, and so we're actually in the middle of Wiley and Saxe right now. And this is where a lot of the, government assisted, homes are being built, and they're just more accessible. And so we're really lucky to actually be in this space right now. So, but that's the thing, it's like, these women have so many, aspirations to do more, and we wanted to foster those interests and foster those ideas, right? And that was the thing. It was like, we know the discriminations that they have gone through, wearing a hijab and, speaking a different language and being women, period. Some of them had to actually ask, their husbands, the chicken is ready also, see?
Yes, I do.
So, the discrimination, the racism and sexism that they've gone through is so traumatic, and the thing is, some of them had to ask, their husbands, for permission to come and cook with us. And when they find out, oh, yes, they're being paid, and yes, they're earning a living, and, and a dignified way of living, and, earning living wages. And like, that was really important. And, so they give their permission, and they think, we're just cooking. But, I wasn't joking when I was telling you earlier, like, we're starting a revolution, and that's the thing. It's really, empowering these women to know that, they can do more, and they have done more. And to me, it's not even the word empowering anymore. They're taking the power back, and so the piece that we're actually sharing with the Fort Worth Arts Council for New Stories, New Futures is a project that I'm calling Your Lost Asian Sister. And so that particular piece is, stemming from our notions of, what we've been practicing as a mission with Break Borders, and really talk about, like, how do you want to unpack, culture and heritage, and, how do you want to, like, dismantle those systemic ideas, right? And really undo the colonization and those whitewashing notions of what people think is like Asian art, and we had been really like talking about spreading more Asian art and Asian, artistic practices. And it's really funny that, when people were asking us, to, teach these classes, I'll throw like, filmmaking, photography, and, cooking, and all these different things out there. And people always kind of geared towards like, what is like the stereotypes, right? And so I remember like, since the Atlanta shooting, like I would get a lot of people that would ask me if I could teach, like sumi ink calligraphy, or, make, food that is really, easy for people to recognize, like the lo mein noodles or whatnot. And I'm like, real lo mein noodles doesn't look like what is down the street. Like all that stuff is too westernized, when you cook it authentically. Kulud, what do we have ready here? Yes, okay, so this dish, say it in Arabic again. Okay, so that actually means burned fingers in Arabic. And so this dish is actually a peasant dish. And it is so good that people typically cannot wait until it's cooled down. They'll dig in with their fingers to try to eat it. And that's why it's called burned fingers. But it is the most amazing vegan casserole. And so it's almost like a 7-layer, oops, sorry, I just lost the, yeah, it's like a 7-layer casserole. And, it's got like lentil, yeah, is it lentil? And what else? Onions.
And adobo.
Uh-huh.
Cilantro.
And then, no. There's secret ingredient. Absolute secret ingredient. That's not it. That's not it. Because I try to make this, it never tastes the same. I try to put
They're
this.
lying to you.
I know. I'm like, Kulu, you put a secret ingredient. You're not telling me one thing. Well, I don't have Kulu. That's why it doesn't taste the same. So anyways, but yeah, like it's just phenomenal, what stereotypes we still live in today about women, about Asian women in America. And I really wanted to kind of, talk about that. And so when I was doing research about Fort Worth, I was looking at all the famous locations, right? And, one of the famous places that people go to all the time is the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens. And obviously one of the most like wedding and event go-to spot is the Japanese garden. And so I don't know if people know this, but there's actually an official palanquin that actually was blessed by Buddhist monks that was, actually brought here from a sister city from Japan to Fort Worth. And so like, and Fort Worth actually has 3 sister cities. 3 sister cities from like maybe out of like a 10 or 12. 3 of them are actually in Asia. One in Indonesia, one in China, and one in Japan. And so the one in Japan actually gifted all these, amazing things, not only inspired, the palanquin, and then also like inspiring all the architecture, like the pagoda, the bridge, and all that. And they also gifted Fort Worth all these, amazing cherry trees and a lot of the floral, like just amazing gardening things, are like were gifted from Japan to Texas, to Fort Worth, Texas. And so to make that garden happen. And so I started thinking like how many people actually know that, and I started looking at the demographics of Fort Worth, and the Asian population is like, I think around like 4.56%. So like only about 5%. It's not a lot, but there's a bunch of, definitely like Asian restaurants, but, again, like not typical knowledge of like, okay, what is the background of all this, about our, Fort Worth's sister cities. And so in furthering unpacking that, that sisterhood, I wanted to kind of think about, okay, if people really wanted to learn about Sumi ink calligraphy, where would they start? And so I looked at the name Fort Worth, and I decided to give Fort Worth a Chinese name. And so with, let's see if I can actually, I want to see if I have, oh, do I have sharing rights right now, or?
I'm gonna see if I can do that for you real quick. Let's
Okay.
see. I think you should be able to.
Okay. let's see. So, okay. Can you see the
There
the
you
slide
go.
there? Okay, cool.
You got it.
Yay! So I'm gonna share with you real quick the deck that I created for this concept. And so my name, as I shared with you, is Jin-Ya Huang, and in Chinese, actually, it means Huang is the color yellow, and the Jin actually means pacifist, and Ya means sophisticated. I don't know what my parents were thinking, but I think it was kind of close to, you know, what I became today. And so I reached out to my sister has a friend who is a master calligrapher in Taipei. She actually is helping us put together, you know, a tutorial of what she does as a master Sumi ink calligrapher. And here she is. I call her Liu Lao Shi, the teacher Lu, and she is. So when I came up with the name for Fort Worth, the word Fort Worth, fort, I actually used the word fu, that means good fortunes. And then worth, I actually chose the word he, that actually is basically one of the words that actually comprises, you know, peace or togetherness. And then shi is city. And so I named Fort Worth the city of good fortunes and peace. And so I'm basically inviting people from around the world, including my son, who's here, you know, to write city of Fort Worth and in Chinese, in Sumi ink calligraphy, to kind of extend this, you know, shared experience. And so, you know, it could be all the way from Bandung and, you know, Indonesia to Guayan, China to Nagoka, Japan. But, you know, I'm gonna get, you know, people from, you know, gosh, Sweden or wherever else, you know, somewhere in Ghana even, you know, to write this with us together. And this is the part that I was kind of giving you the background on, you know, the gifts, you know, from Japan to from Nagoka to Fort Worth, that kind of inspired this whole idea of us creating this piece called Your Lost Asian Sister. We wanted people to unpack, you know, like, what would it be, you know, how would you relate to your Asian sister, and what is the one act that you can do together, you know, whether it's, you know, high tech or low tech, you know, writing with your hand with a brush, or you know, or downloading a Sumi ink, you know, calligraphy art app like my son did here. And all those Saturday Chinese school is paying off. Jason. So 13, super defiant, but you know, did this for mommy, thank goodness. But yeah, and so he you know, basically, yeah, like he downloaded this app, and you know, he found the font that he liked, you know, from a particular dynasty. He chose like a particular brush stroke, you know, that was thick enough to, you know, evoke like his feeling of what this city, you know, represents. And then you know, so on this version here is, you know, his tracing of, you know, Fort Worth as a city. And then here's the, you know, my interpretation of Fort Worth as a city is definitely more cursive, you know, more gestural, you know, and my idea of like how Zen the words can, you know, come together and be as one. And so just a little nod to the Beatles. But anyways, oh, you have no idea what I listened to coming to America. Oh, look. Can you see to the dumplings, the Chechen dumplings that we've got here?
And yes.
I'm just doing what Lang, my son, would be doing if he were here filming with us. But anyways, I'll stop sharing now. But so we will be, you know, basically compiling the different, you know, writings of Sumi ink calligraphy, or, you know, just in pen or whatever, you know, but people, it's very participatory. I need to eat. I can't say anything until
I don't know how you're even focusing with all that food on the table.
right. Oh, and that's the fresh hummus all done.
Yes.
Yep. What do you put on top, Nawara, for all
It's
the?
like maybe sumac,
Mm-hmm.
cumin,
Mhm.
cumin,
Mm-hmm.
and paprika or paprika.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's
And
all the
olive oil.
and olive oil. So like it's not just, like your regular hummus. And so all this stuff you can actually get, at the market provisions of our farmers market. We have a partnership with them with consumer packaged goods. And so that's something that we're trying to grow. If catering is difficult to scale at this time because of the pandemic, we wanted to be able to pivot and, alternative, source and distribute food in a way that, we're still a food for good company, and really talk about, it's as easy as like buying hummus and baba ganoush and you can make social impact. Like that's not a far reach, like everybody's got to eat, right? And it's like, this is how you can make a difference in a person's life, all through the arts. All
This
through
is
the art.
amazing. So inspirational. I cannot wait to see you in person at the New Stories, New Futures. And just again, thank you so much. Now, I'm assuming most of that's ready to eat, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I
I'm
think
going to
we
wrap
already
this up a
feel-
little bit. It is
Yep.
looking absolutely fantastic. I do want to ask you, how can people find out about your program, Break Bread, Break Borders? What's the easiest way to find this program and keep up with it?
Okay, so Break Bread Break Borders has a website, and that's where actually you can actually email us, either Jin-Ya at breakbreadbreakborders.com or breakbreadbreakborders@gmail.com. And you can, reach out for catering. And so catering typically is, $300 minimum, and delivery is on top of that. We are really kind of focused on the Dallas, Plano area. We've definitely done Fort Worth gigs before. It's better if we have a commercial kitchen in partnership there, that, because, traveling all that way can be tough on a lot of the dishes that we cook. But a lot of it, I mean, you can't just like half an hour, I can't wait, so you don't want to have to like travel that long. But yeah, basically the website is a great way to reach out to us. You can see a sample menu there. You can, order food that way. Again, like I was saying, we're at market provision over at farmers market. Here's the chicken. Ta-da! Look at that. Like all that. This is like food art. Like I make all this ingredients. Mine never looks this good.
Wow. Well,
This is
here's what I
the
love.
secret ingredients of everybody. Noara, Rania, amazing job.
Bravo. And I gotta
Bravo.
say,
Woo!
I find it so interesting that as soon as the ladies started wiping down the counter, I saw two males in the background heading to the
Yep.
kitchen.
Yep. The kids are like swarming, like sharks. They're like, the kids are like, food is ready. Why is that woman still talking? I want to eat.
So I want you to know we're not totally incompetent. I knew what I was coming into on this meeting. And so I did not open a can. I did not.
Yeah, no.
I made a little bit of black bean tostadas. And when I say I made it, my significant other, who is of course a female, I chopped all the vegetables and I gave it all to her. So
There you go.
I had some fresh avocado.
Okay.
A little bit of pico and lime, fresh again.
Awesome.
Onions, jalapenos, tomatoes. I did make the lemon sour cream crema sauce. So I will take credit for that one. And then I just put it all on my tostada with the black bean.
Oh,
Put a little lime juice on
beautiful,
there. Again,
Jason.
I've got my fine china here, and that's all I'm showing you, because this is the only thing that people need to be looking at.
No, that is effort made. Yes. I am really, really proud of you. No, that's awesome.
If you ever invite me to a meal, rest assured I will never say no again.
No. Yeah, like don't ever turn that down. Yeah, but no, it's been phenomenal.
such a pleasure to visit with you. Do you mind if we hear those wonderful ladies' voices and their names one more time? I would love to give them another shout out before we wrap all this up.
Absolutely, but they're like in deep cleaning mode. Hang on just a second, but I am going to share that we're also obviously on social media, even though we, really have a tough time with it. It's not like the best form that we want to communicate. We always just want to like serve people food in person, but we are on Facebook, we're on, Instagram and Twitter and, even LinkedIn. And so, but the best way to, to hire the ladies, for any kind of cooking is definitely, through the breakborders.com. So here we go. I think they're at a little better spot. They're putting one more thing together. What's going on? Is it dessert that's going on? No, one more dish. Oh, the rice with the peas. Yes. Okay. So Nawara.
Yeah, the dessert is already ready.
Okay. So Kulud, say thank you for joining us again.
No, thank you.
I know, right?
Thank you for sharing our food.
Yes,
Coconut cookies.
that's Nawara. She is amazing at sweets also. And so those cookies are definitely addictive. So
Wow.
you got the savory and sweet. And then Rania, thank you so much for hosting today. Her name in Arabic literally means the queen. That's for a reason,
You
for a
have a
very
few
good
queens
reason.
there, it looks like.
The queen, the flower, and Kulud, what does your name mean again?
Eternity.
I'm sorry?
Eternity.
Eternity. So eternal floral queen. Oh, yeah?
Looking for the fun.
Oh, looking to the future. Even better.
Yes.
But you know what? You guys are all queens in my eyes.
Yes. And taking this
Amazing,
all
beautiful.
into the future, it looks like as well. So we are
Yes.
just so incredibly grateful. Now, I'm assuming the rice and the peas is close.
Very close. Yes.
Okay, because I'm going
Yep.
to keep stretching this out till I don't
Yeah,
want to see an empty dish in there anyway. So I'll keep going. I
Yeah,
do want
no
to remind
worries.
everyone, the New Stories, New Futures is a 2-night free outdoor new media art exhibit featuring audio video works projected on all 4 sides of the 200-foot Pioneer Tower. And it is alongside Aurora, along with 10 fantastic artists, local, including yourself, bringing some wonderful exhibits there as well. This is a
Yes.
2-night event, August 20th and 21st, right here in the Cultural District at the Will Rogers Pioneer Tower. It takes place from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. All you have to do is go to the Fort Worth Public Art website or New Faces. Let me make sure I'm saying that. New Stories, newfutures.org. It is entirely free. All you need to do is go to the website, sign up for a time, and then again, it is going to be an absolute incredible event. And it has been just such a pleasure to visit with all of you fantastic artists. I am just blown away by this particular box lunch. I do not know if this one is topped in terms of menus and the wonderful things that are going on there.
Yeah, they don't slack on anything. It's like, I joke, they were like, oh, it's only going to be a light lunch. And I'm like, I mean, seriously, Jason, this is like, because like typically when they like, have an all out, like this whole spread, it would be like all over the place. It would be so much food that like we like literally like cannot walk kind of situation. So
this is a light brunch. I'm
Right?
certainly cautiously optimistic that I could even make it through a meal.
Right. Yeah. And it's just like so many courses of goodiness, and they're just really, really good about like taking care of people. But this is like, definitely some of our uber popular dishes, like the fattoush salad, and the chicken shawarma, like we said, and the Chechen dumplings, the hummus, and the Syrian chicken, and also the hara isabel. Like I said, the burnt fingers, like these are all like super popular dishes, and the rice and peas too. Like even kids that don't like vegetables would be like, the peas and carrots taste good in this, I will eat that, and so these are like definitely crowd pleasers, and so they definitely wanted to see, like, let you see, what is in their repertoire, but this is like such a small part. This is just like a glimpse into it, and that's the thing, it's like they cook with such pride and joy, and it really comes through, and I think, that's what we wanted to share, with the piece, with New Stories and New Futures is, we really do feel like, storytelling and sharing the powerfulness of storytelling can really truly help us gain better understanding. And, a lot of this, racial divides and all the issues that the social unrest that we're experiencing in our country and really throughout the world, really, if we can take a look at it from this lens, what that intersection would look like, and I think that's what's been interesting for so many people is that we have really merged art and commerce in a way that not too many people had really thought about, what the arts can achieve, and like even my baby sister is always like, you're not making art, like you're just running a business. I'm like, I beg to differ, but, and so, we really talk about like how sharing these stories, and not just, here, but near, but far, like we were accepted into incubator programs, with like BBVA Compass and at Momentum. We have friends wondering when food is going to be served, and so like definitely, BBVA is really big in, Spain and Turkey and in Mexico and here in the US. And they have really done a lot of incredible like social entrepreneurship, basically businesses that make social impact. And, when we went through that incubator program, that was when we kind of thought about, okay, if we weren't doing, catering to scale, what were we going to do? CBGs kind of became one of the solutions, right? And we really thought, okay, we were going to launch that, and then the pandemic hit and it were kind of put a damper on things, but, we know we're still, slowly, literally just last month was able to roll that out. And so like, it's really using these ideas and, and we knew that this business model exists, like, a lot of places around the world. We've seen, this business model in Germany and in so many different places that, that really have worked with refugees with food, like internationally. But we just didn't see one in our backyard. And we wanted to see one, for our own neighborhood. And so that's why we started this. And, we've been really fortunate to have been awarded, the Myra Women Helping Women Awards, with the Texas Women's Foundation. And then we are actually going to be able to, I think we're accepting an award this November for with SMU, with the Spirit of Triumph Human Rights Award. And then, like doing things like this. And also, we're actually a part of the Orchid Giving Circle. That's a nonprofit that helps, Asian American nonprofits here in the DFW area. And then, we're also in the class of Presidential Leadership Scholars Program right now this year. And that's actually 60 scholars and throughout the nation. Some of them have, international projects as well, global projects that we're working with presidential foundations, from Bush, LBJ, to the and Bush #1 and 2, and then LBJ and also the Clinton Foundation, working with these presidential foundations to find, projects that's going to make lasting social impact. And so we're really tackling it from not just from the arts, but also from a business and also from like a policy perspective of, you know, really how one of our favorite civil rights activists, Grace Lee Boggs, you know, has always said, you know, we are the leaders we've been looking for. And so it is really, you know, you can see this, like, I am not running the show, these women are, you know, and they drive what is, you know, happening with the company and what, you know, what we look forward to and, you know, what futures they hold is we hold together, you know, and that's the thing. It's this investment was purely thinking about, you know, what is going to be best for the community, by the community, with the community, you know, and that investment is really important when we talk about this in a way that, you know, when we're in this space, we're not here to help. We're here to remove the barriers that, you know, that really, you know, have people, you know, get access to success. And it's really the idea that that kind of investment in is, you know, it should be equitable for all. So yeah.
It's amazing. And the fact that you are certainly, I believe, one of the few that instead of continuing to talk about borders, you're building bridges. And it is just amazing. It is inspiring. I have just totally been amazed watching all of this and speaking with you and seeing these wonderful women work. It is just absolutely astounding. You are deserving of all the accolades you've received, and it's
not us. It's never been about me. It's about we.
Well,
you know?
I don't mean you. I mean all of it. And
thank you.
just an awe-inspiring program. And please keep up the great work. Now, I've been accused of asking some hard-hitting questions, and this may be the toughest question that you have to answer today. Do you have a favorite dish on that table, and are you allowed to tell us what it is?
I don't have a favorite dish. I'm just kidding. No, you know what? To be honest, like it depends on the day, right? You know, and so like it really depends on like what I'm craving for. And a lot of times, you know, like, you know, if I'm really like nostalgic of like a lot of my, you know, Asian roots, you know, from Taiwan and China, then, you know, I hanker for these dumplings, you know, but when I'm like, you know, my son is really, really particular, and he will actually eat, you know, the chicken shawarma and, you know, these pita wraps, and they definitely, I think it's the pickle factor, you know, that really like does a lot for him. I love the fattoush salad. Lang is always a little like, that's a little too sour for him, you know, that's my super healthy mode, obviously without the croutons. But today my favorite is, I haven't had the burnt fingers in a long time, and so like I get the hummus and I think, yeah, like, oh, that's the baby is spur out. And I eat rice and hummus and stuff like that all the time. And so it's not like, you know, like I don't, that's like just a staple, you know, but that burnt finger dish is really hard to make for me, you know, because like a lot of times, one of the things that Kulu didn't talk about is that typically it's almost like you know how Southern dishes have like rolled noodles that they call dumplings.
Yep.
So they do a Syrian version of this that they actually hand roll these doughs that go into that dish. And you can taste the in Chinese, like we say, it sounds like the letter Q, like, you know, like QQ noodles, you know, the Italians will call it like al dente, you know, like it's got that bounce to it, you know, and like, I just don't have the skills, you know, like I joke, I'm always like, I don't know how to cook, but I know how to show up and I know how to eat. And I'm really good at taking out the trash. So please just let me come eat and help you clean and take out the trash, and we'll make this work.
Well,
How's the rice coming along? Is it almost done? Almost 5 minutes? Okay. What? Oh, you want to bring the cake? Okay. Oh,
we have more?
yeah, more. Dude, you have no idea. We're actually celebrating a birth month. So Kulu actually just had a birthday, and we're woohoo! We are
Nice.
still celebrating. We kept joking like pandemic birthdays don't count, you know, and like until we can come in person. And so
Exactly, yes. Oh my goodness gracious.
oh, can we sing it in Arabic and happy birthday?
Yes, please.
In Arabic, yeah. Come on, I don't know. I'll sing it in Chinese. How about that? Okay.祝你生日快乐，祝你生日快乐。Happy birthday, Kulud, in 3 different languages.
Indeed. I think that's enough. I don't even think we need to wait on the rice after that
No.
wonderful birthday song. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much to you, all these wonderful women. Please keep up the great work. We'll make sure and get some links down in the comment for everybody. And if you have any more questions, make sure you reach out to us. It has been an absolute treat to visit with everyone today. Any final words of wisdom or personal thoughts for our viewers out there?
Gosh, really just, you know, thank you so much for, again, for holding space for me and the ladies. And I really want everyone to think about, you know, how we can really use the arts to heal the world. And let's think about embracing every race under the sun and create a more equitable, just, and beautiful world together. So
Couldn't
thank
say
you.
it any better myself. That wraps up another edition of Box Lunch, folks. We'll be back next week with another fabulous artist, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon. Be safe out there, everybody. Can't wait to see you all in person. Wonderful,
Thank
wonderful
you.
job, my friend. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.